صلوات.
اللهم صل على أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين أبو القاسم محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Today is the second Muharram, and this is the third time we are meeting. In the first 2 days, on the first day we did a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we praised Him and we addressed Him as the most merciful, the most benevolent, the Lord of the world, the Lord of the universe, the Master of the Day of Judgment. We established a relationship with Him. We told Him that we pray only to You and we ask help only from You. And then we made a dua. We said, Oh Allah, just lead us on the straight path. The path on which You have blessed people and not the path on which people have gone astray. He responded, He gave us a guide, the Quran, but He had certain caveats attached to that guidance. He said the guidance is for the reverent, the virtuous, the people who are on taqwa. The guidance is for people who believe in the unseen. The guidance is for people who establish their prayers and who give out of whatever He has given. For people who believed in the revelation to our Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And to the people who believed in the prior revelations also, the prior prophets. And He said, if you do this and follow my guidance, you will be on a successful path. Then, based upon my continuous study, and I'm trying to make up for what lost time, and we discussed the major themes, or rather we listed the major themes in the Quran. First, God Himself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whose name is Allah, has occurred more than 2,500 times in the Quran. And apart from His other names, 99 names. The second major theme was man as individual in the world. The third major theme is man as a society. Then there are other major themes like nature is described in the Quran a lot. Prophethood and revelations. There are a lot of prophethood description and revelation, prior revelation in the Quran. Then Satan and the evil Satan spreads. And finally, eschatology, that the life after death, barzakh, the day of judgment, and the final resting place of the soul. We also talked about God, because what the Quranic God is, our God. The Quran expresses God as a functional God. Like God is the creator, He sustains the universe and mankind. He is a giver of the guidance, and He is going to judge us on the day of the judgment. And His judgment will be full of mercy. It will be totally tampered with. So, gates of repentance are always open till the time unseen becomes seen. When Malkul Maut comes, then you know that there is God, and you see the unseen has become seen, and then that's when the gates of repentance close. Now today we are going to discuss man as an individual. Let me take your attention to the 30th through the 33rd verse of Surah Baqarah, which gives us our history, the initial history. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala announced to the angel that I am going to create man as my vicegerent, as my Khalifa, as my ambassador. So angels who were so dedicated, who were so obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even they asked, why are you creating man on the earth which is going to spread corruption? Allah said, I know what you do not know. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam from clay. And a lot of scholars have said He created Adam from the potter's clay, what we use to make pots, the potter's clay. And He blew His spirit in Adam. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Adam the names. Now, Ibn Abdullah says, names. Quran says, Allah taught Adam the names. Ibn Abdullah says that Allah gave knowledge to Adam. And then Allah presented Adam in front of the angels and asked questions to Adam, and Adam responded. Adam responded to those questions which the angel could not respond. So Allah said, look, I told you that what I am creating, I know. So after Adam responded to the questions of what Allah had posed, Allah asked the angels to prostrate to Adam. The angels prostrated to Adam. Now, here comes the question. Why did the angels say that the man is going to spread corruption? Again, Ibn Abbas, the Prophet's uncle, was a Quranic scholar, and he gave the response that there was life on the earth, and the earth was occupied by jinns who were very, very corrupt. And Allah sent a tribe of angels called Al-Hen, which was led by Iblis to go and kill those angels. So the angels had that idea that the occupants of the world would be corrupt. So, having given this background, what is the status of man, and why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the angels prostrate to man? Number one, Allah made man His Khalifa. He breathed His spirit in man. Allah was man's first teacher, and then Allah created intellect for man, and Allah gave a free will to man and the power of acquisition. The intellect, Al-Kafi Sheikh Kulaini's collection, which is our most authenticated hadith, and his collection in the first hadith itself, and it is based upon the authority of the fifth Imam, Muhammad Baqir al-Islam. Allah created intellect. Allah gave intellect a faculty of language. It granted intellect a faculty of language so that intellect would understand. Allah said, "Oh intellect, move backwards." Intellect, move backwards. Allah said, "Intellect, come forward." Intellect came forward. And then Allah said, "Upon my majesty and upon my might, you are among my best creations, and I have perfected you among the people I love." I have perfected you among the people I love, and that is why the prophets, the Imams, are superior to us, because their intellect was perfected by Allah subhanahu. And then Allah adds that on that day, on the day of judgment, I'm going to judge according to your performance in each individual. I firmly believe that Allah has, other than the Masumeen, Allah has given an average intellect to everyone, and it all depends upon us how we enhance it. The Prophet used to say, be surrounded by knowledge, be surrounded by intellectual people. Why? Because when you're surrounded by knowledgeable people, you're surrounded by intellectual people, and then you grow among them, your intellect gets enhanced. So, now you know what was the primordial status of man. The primordial status was He had blown His Spirit in you. He made the angels prostrate to you. Even before we came to this form, He made the angels prostrate to you. This was the esteem Allah had bestowed upon me. We are living in a very modernized world. There's so much of humanity and human rights, but no one has ever been able to bestow that exalted excellency or sanctity upon man, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had done upon us when He created us. And that is our status in this world. Now, let's discuss each of these qualities in detail one by one. Everyone sitting over here now, everyone, you are the ambassador of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this earth. He states that in the Quran, that He has created His vicegerent. Now, if the president of our country is selecting an ambassador to go to England or Sweden or to Spain, he is going to review the credentials of that person. He's not going to send somebody to this country as an ambassador for him who is not fit for that. So now look, what is the responsibility Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is putting on us when He says, you are my Khalifa on this earth. So you have to come to that merit which He expects from us. And that merit comes through following His protocol, because an ambassador has to follow the protocol of the president. If he's in England, he has to follow the protocol of the United States. Likewise, we have to follow the protocol of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which He has given, which He had promised Adam, and which He has been continuously given in the form of the guidance till the final message came as the Quran. Second point, Allah blew His Spirit in us. So that means He blew the highest of the highest. The highest of the highest in us. Nothing can go near that, highest of the highest. But at the same time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had made us out of clay. The lowest of the lowest, on which animals walk. So now we have two dimensions. One, the highest of the highest. Two, the lowest of the lowest. These are the two dimensions every human being has. So our job is to attain the highest, to use the quality, which is the highest of the highest, and to attain the divinity in that. And that quality takes us to the loftiness. The spirit which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His spirit which He had blown, takes us to the loftiness. Now, if you choose that first dimension, then you're going towards providence. But you have another quality which drags you down. And at this point of time, let me introduce another character into our story. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the angels prostrate to Adam, there was someone who said, no, I'm not going to prostrate to Adam. And he was most obedient. He was the biggest worshipper of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But at that time, he disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why did Satan disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Satan disobeyed because Satan thought that he was superior. He was jealous of what all qualities Allah had granted to Adam. And that's why he went and he disobeyed. In fact, a scholar, I've forgotten his name, he said that when Allah created Adam, his body was lifeless for 40 years before he breathed his spirit into it. And Satan used to go and mock the body of Adam. He said, I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to destroy you. He used to frequently do that. So, Satan comes into picture. He's dragging you towards your second dimension. And like I said yesterday, that Satan was scared, was frightened when Surah Hamd was revealed. Because there you're making a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us on the right path, on the straight path. And that's why he was scared, because then he would not be able to distract us. So, and then when we were created, the 172nd verse of Surah Araf states that when we were in the primordial state, primordial is not in this form, when we just created, and Allah asked us, all of us, am I not your Lord? And you said, yes, you are my Lord. And he said, remember it, so that on that day, on the day of judgment, you do not say that I was heedless. I did not know that you are my Lord. And that imprint is there on our hearts. The Quran says that imprint is there on our hearts. And what happens is, when a baby is born, the baby is perfect, is masoom, is perfect. And slowly, when the person starts interacting with the world, a person gets attracted with the worldliness, that imprint, it starts slowly going away. And the job of a religion is to get us back to that covenant, to that agreement we had made with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before we came into this form. Now, coming back to our discussion of where we started, I interrupted to introduce you Satan. Satan's job is to distract you, is to just keep distracting you. And Satan did that right at the beginning of the civilization, between the two sons of Adam, Abel and Cain. Cain was jealous. And Satan took that advantage. And Satan inspired Cain to kill Abel. So that was the first time a murder had taken place. And Satan had inspired Adam's second son, Cain, who became jealous and killed his brother. Finally, Allah taught us names. Allah taught us names. That means Allah gave knowledge to us. The word knowledge is so important in the Quran that it has been used 857 times. Knowledge has been used 857 times in the Quran. Now, if Brother Zulfakhari and I are having, both are structural engineers, and are having a structural conversation, we are going to talk about beams, we are going to talk about columns and concrete and all. So that will be the keywords in our conversation. And when Allah is having a discourse with us, just imagine Him using 857 times the word knowledge. So how important the word knowledge is in developing your character as a Muslim. And when He gave knowledge, when He gave us intellect, when He gave us free will, it is leading us towards humanism. And please don't confuse humanism with humanity. Humanity is benevolence, humanity is generosity. Humanism is a philosophy where you tend towards excellence with these qualities, with knowledge, with intellect, and free will. And Allah has given free will with the power of acquisition. He is the supreme power. He has the control over us. But He has given us a choice to choose between the right and the wrong. And when someone asked Imam Ali how much choice Allah has given to us, Imam said, you can stand on 2 feet, then you can remove 1 foot and you can stand, but you cannot remove both the feet and stand. And that is much choice Allah has given us. He has given us choice, that you choose between the right and the wrong. So that's what ethics is. He has the complete control. But when people say that everything is predestined, now if I am committing a sin and if that is predestined, why should Allah punish me for that? Because that was Allah decided that I commit a sin. And why should Allah punish me for that? So that is what humanism is. So these are the qualities Allah has given you. Allah has given you knowledge, Allah has given you intellect, and Allah has given you a degree of freedom. And you have to use that knowledge to excel as a human being. And excellence in your worship towards Him, excellence in serving the humanity, excellence in your education, excellence in your profession, excellence in everything. And please, I've been insisting that ours, Muslim society, the Ummah of the Prophet, is a balanced community. We are not going towards extreme asceticism. We are not going towards extreme worldliness. We are staying in the middle. The Prophet created a middle community because the Prophet himself was an administrator, he was a warrior, he was a judge, he was a governor. He played all the roles to exhibit to us how we function as individuals in this world. And if we are following the Sunnah of the Prophet was all round, and he demonstrated how we live in this world. He was just not into prayers. He was just not into spirituality all the time. He demonstrated an ordinary life like us to give us an example of how we live our lives. Now, there are several other verses establishing the superiority of man. And one verse is the 72nd verse of Surah Azam. What Allah did was He offered His trust to the mountains. The mountains refused. He offered His trust to the earth. The earth refused. He offered His trust to the heaven. The heaven refused. They declined to take that burden of the trust. That trust meant that He would give you a free will, and then He is going to judge you based upon your action. The heaven, the earth, the mountains, they declined. They just wanted to be passively obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the man took it. When Allah offered trust to man, man took it. And that is why on the day of judgment, we are going to be judged according to our deeds. But then the verse goes on and it says that man proved to be ignorant and betrayed the trust. It is not for everyone, but we commit so many sins. And when we are committing sins, we are betraying the trust which we had given to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as the 72nd verse of Surah Azam mentions. Let's summarize our discussion today. Let's look at the merits we have. We are the Khalifa, we are the ambassador, we are the vicegerent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we need to conduct ourselves accordingly. Allah is our first teacher, and He is insisted so much upon knowledge that He mentioned knowledge 857 times in the Quran. Allah has breathed His Spirit in us. He made our status very high. So we have to conduct ourselves accordingly. That our status is so high that Allah made angels prostrate to us. That Allah gave us intellect and free will so that we make right choices. On the other hand, Satan's qualities are, Satan is jealous, and Satan is envious, Satan is proud, Satan is arrogant, Satan is greedy, Satan is a backstabber, he does backbiting. So whenever, because we are just human beings, and whenever we see these things in us, like we are becoming greedy, or we are becoming arrogant, we should strive, we should think, look, Satan is acting. He is whispering in our minds, is whispering in our brains. Salwan Muhammad. The Imam was in Makkah. He had consultations with his cousin Abdullah ibn Abbas, who advised him not to go to Kufa. Abdullah ibn Abbas said that the Kufans are deceitful people. They have deceived your father. They have deceived your brother. And the Imam insisted that I have received so many invitations to come and lead them, and it is my duty to go to them. By the time he did not know what had happened to Muslim ibn Hakim. So Ibn Abbas said, okay, if you want to go, then leave your women and children here, and please leave them alone. Now, Imam also had several meetings with Abdullah ibn Zubair. The background of Abdullah ibn Zubair is he's Zubair's son. And according to the Sunni belief, Zubair is among the list of 10 who were guaranteed Jannah by the Prophet. And Zubair was among the first who came and did bayat at the hands of Imam Ali, but then he got influenced by Al-Mu'mineen Aisha, and he was in Jang-e-Jamal and he was killed in Jang-e-Jamal. So Abdullah ibn Zubair was also very ambitious, and like I told you, Muawiyah had warned Yazid, one of the persons that he need to be very careful was Abdullah ibn Zubair. So he was in Makkah, and he used to come and talk to the Imam in a very sly way, because he knew if the Imam was in Makkah, then he has no position, because the stature of the Imam was very high, the son of Ali and Fatima, the grandson of the Holy Prophet. So he wanted the Imam to leave. He wanted him, but he used to say, don't go, stay back. But Imam knew that he is very deceitful, and he said, no, I have to go. Then finally he said, let's join together and try to revolt against the governor of Makkah. And Imam said, no, I cannot have bloodshed in this holy city. And finally Imam left. That was 8th of Zulhijjah when Imam left Makkah. The distance between Makkah and Kufa is about 1100 miles. And he had to go through several places: Tanim, Sifa, Hajar, Zarur, Salabia, Zubala. Zubala was a place which, when he had entered Iraq, and he had accumulated a big supply of water with him. And then he entered Sharaf. And when he entered Sharaf, at that time Hur, with 1,000 of his soldiers, came and intercepted the Imam. The Imam welcomed Hur. The Imam, Hur did not have water, and Imam gave water to the soldiers of Hur, and also Hur's horses. Imam gave water to Hur's horses. And that was the same Hur who would be stopping Imam from putting his camps near the river Euphrates. Hur asked the Imam, why was he going to Kufa? The Imam said, I have an invitation from the Kufans to come and lead them. And he said, I do not know about that invitation. So Imam asked his companions to get the bags of letters which had come from Kufa. Imam showed it to Hur. And Hur looked at them and he said, no, we did not send you these letters. And I have been ordered by the governor, Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad, to arrest you and take you to Kufa. The Imam was very angry and he said, death be upon you. May your mother be deprived of you. And Hur turned back and he said, I cannot even take your mother's name, because your mother is Fatima az-Zahra, the daughter of the Holy Prophet. But there was a heated discussion between the Imam and Hur. Then Hur said, okay, you need not, I will not arrest you, but you should not go enter Kufa, or you should not go back to Medina. So Imam started his travel, but Hur was following the Imam. He kept following the Imam till a point they came to a place when next day in the morning the Imam said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And his son, Ali ibn Hussein, Imam Zainul Abidin al-Islam, he asked his father, why did you recite this ayat? And Imam said that I saw a dream where people are on a journey, they are traveling, and they are being followed by the fate. I saw that the fate, the Qismat, was following, and that means death. And that is why we are going to die very soon. Now, meanwhile, in Kufa, Ibn Ziyad was either bribing the people who had paid allegiance to Muslim ibn Aqil, or he was forcing them to withdraw that allegiance. And that allegiance was completely lost. And the Imam reached a place and a messenger from Ibn Ziyad came. to her, and he carried a letter. He said, "Stop Hussein wherever he is right now, and make sure that he doesn't have protection, and make sure that he is not near water." That was the 2nd of Muharram. And that place was called Nainawa. And who was the same man who stopped Imam, put his tents near river Euphrates, who Imam had given water not only to him, but to his soldiers and to his horses. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ahsan.